Joining me now, O'Leary Ventures Chairman Kevin O'Leary. Well, Kevin, good to see you. Thanks for helping us out. Less than a third of student loan borrowers in one study could answer 3 questions about student loans correctly. They were pretty simple. In other words, they didn't know that they were at risk of having their wages or tax refunds garnished if they failed to pay. Are you surprised by this?
No, not at all. But what this really focuses on, when you are a borrower, it doesn't matter where you borrow it from, could be the government, could be private, from a bank or whatever. You take on a responsibility and you have to pay it back. That is how our system works. And the covenants are embedded in the paperwork you sign. They always have been, they always will be. We had some policy in the previous administration that made it sound that this would be soft policy and maybe you didn't ever have to pay it back. I always felt that was so unfair to previous generations, previous cohorts that did pay back their loans, because the truth is the majority do pay them back. But here we have a situation where the policy made it sound like don't worry about it, and now the policy changed. You don't make money or lose money from politicians, you do from policy. The policy has gone very tough, and these rules are going to be enforced, and it will cause some personal bankruptcies, which is a very bad outcome. Now, having said all that, we can avoid this going forward by some pretty simple rules. Understand what you're signing, what your obligation is, and why are you spending money in the first place? If you're going to borrow for yourself to get an education, make damn sure it's something you want to do to repay back the money you borrowed. In other words, you're going to need a job.
That's right. Job's always a great thing. Well, Kevin, you've got an MBA, you're an entrepreneur, you've invested in a lot of startups, started a lot of businesses. Are you surprised so many people now are finding success with self-taught financial literacy and looking to become entrepreneurs?
About a third of the population pursues this, and you don't need an MBA to do it. I've always found the successful entrepreneurs I've backed have great street smarts, and they have the guts and the fortitude to compete in a brutally competitive way when they start companies up. And a lot of it has to do with our new digital economy that allows startups through social media. You can acquire customers that way. But having said all that, we have failed in the educational system. You know, my first career was advancing math and reading scores in 110,000 school buildings with the Learning Company. And I always wondered when I talked to teachers in every state, why do we only care about math and reading? Why aren't we teaching everybody about credit cards? Because that's what's killing these students after they get credit cards and they turn 18. We should be teaching them when they're 5 and 6 that you have to be responsible about debt. And it took a long time before the states, and I'm not giving myself credit for this, but they figured it out. Florida is a state where they have introduced financial literacy. And New York, Florida, California, and Texas are where we really develop educational policy for the nation. And I think lawmakers have figured out we really need to make this part of our curriculum so that young people understand, along with math and reading, you can't live without money. And that's how it works. And I think in the generations ahead, because there's a lot of self-learning, as you pointed out, on YouTube and everywhere else, you can learn about this at an early age, and you should.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you've got to admit that a lot of people are learning, young people are learning the wrong lessons at home from mom and dad. That happens all the time. These bad habits are passed down generation after generation. But I want to go back to entrepreneurism. You've had an incredible run starting with absolutely nothing. When you look at Americans and their attitudes toward their own debt and the nation's debt, what do you make of their thinking? Do young Americans have a mindset for financial success? And what does that look like?
Well, you've got to remember, for over 200 plus years, the most successful economy on earth is still America. And so it gets criticized everywhere for a lot of different reasons, for different administrations. But if you just invest in America, you've beat everybody in terms of just buying the S&P index. It has been where most of the money of the world comes to invest because it's a land of laws and transparency and appellate courts. But the American dream is America's #1 export. Everybody wants to come to America to be an entrepreneur. That's still the case. So I'm still extremely bullish on what American entrepreneurs can do, which is why I fund so many of them. And policies change, times come and go, but the essence of the American dream is to run your own business. Very often it's a family business. Take control of your own life, work like hell, and when you're successful, you're free. You're free to do whatever you want. Most of us just keep working because we love what we do, but that was always my motivation. Where can I go in the world where I can do this and provide for my family and grow something and enjoy my life in the ways I want to? That's America. And right now, it's being realigned to do that again. And of course, policies are always debated as politicians go back and forth. But the essence of the American dream is intact, even in
Amen
New
and
York
amen.
City.
Even in New York City, where we're about to get a socialist mayor. You know, you wrote something recently that I really wanted to talk to you about it. You say there are stupid mistakes young people are making right now, and it's going to bite them in the butt in retirement. What are you talking about?
You know, I learned a very simple lesson from my mother when I was young, and it was really brilliant what she taught me, because she wasn't some kind of an analyst or anything, but she said, look, you've got to take 15% of your salary or any money you make cutting the lawn or whatever it is, and you've got to invest it. In her case, she did it from when she was a young accountant working for her father, used to pay the girls in cash back then. She bought telco bonds. They were paying 6 and 7%, and S&P stocks that paid dividends. And she never touched the principal, only the interest and the dividends. She did that when she was a young woman, and she never disclosed this account to either of her husbands. She was married twice. It was her personal money. She died a very wealthy woman. And when I was called down on the older brother to the executor, said, you can't believe what your mom has here. I said, no, we're a middle-class family. Wrong-o, kiddo. So what she did was never let more than 5% into any one stock and no more than 20% into any one sector. She didn't have ETFs back then. They had mutual funds. Now you can do this easily with an ETF. You can download an app. The key is have the discipline to save 15% from your average salary of $70,000 a year. And if you start in your mid-20s and you have the discipline not to buy more crap and not to buy a $22 lunch when you don't need to do that, or another pair of sneakers or another t-shirt you don't need, put it into that savings, a little bit of indexing.
You will be wealthy. That's absolutely true.
You'll have $1.5 million. When you're 65, you'll have $1.5 million, because that's generally what the market's done. And I think we'll continue to do it in America. That's how it works.
Kevin O'Leary, thank you. I know you're an inspiration to lots and lots of young people. Thank you.